Hello, this is Soundout here, and I'm at Star Trek Mission Chicago. It's morphin' time! Alright, so we're going to cover my experience at Star Trek Mission Chicago. This video will feature toys, props, other booths, and the show floor in general, plus what I picked up. And there'll be a video coming in a couple days that will be featuring stories from the panels and meeting the guests at the convention. So be sure to subscribe to keep up with that. Hit the like button while you're down there and leave a comment and tell me what is your favorite thing you see in this video, because there's quite a lot to look at. So let's begin. Let's talk about the show floor itself and some of the things found within it. This is an overview kind of thing. First of all, everything was nicely labeled. It was really easy to find everything at the show. And yeah, big giant signs. Always love big giant signs. Definitely a nice entrance as well because it made it very easy to find things. There's this cool timeline of Star Trek board, which hasn't been updated since Star Trek Beyond, but that's okay. And there was a nice Playmates advertisement, even if they weren't at the show themselves. Also a cool photo op with the Starfleet Delta. Never turn down a photo op like this. And there's a Star Trek Prodigy video game coming soon, which I'm looking forward to seeing more on. Going into the show itself, very nice welcome banner. I love the representation of so many different characters from across the franchise on there. Very cool stuff. Really liked it, really welcoming, and really cool. The show floor itself didn't have too many vendors. There was only like a handful, which made it easy to go through and honestly wasn't overwhelming. There was some booths selling toys, hats, books, all kinds of different apparel. If there was a type of Star Trek thing you like to collect, somebody was selling something from it, and that was pretty neat. I did really enjoy looking at a lot of this stuff, even if I didn't end up buying most of it. That was fine too. There was a lot of great apparel as well. There was a booth that was selling just t-shirts that I thought was great. A lot of books, a lot of different things. The autographs were far enough away that the lines wouldn't inflict with the dealer room area. There was a company selling Borg Cube computers, which was frickin' cool. And yeah, I just loved a lot of the booths. There was a lot of variety. It wasn't just people selling things. Some were for podcasts or for websites. Some were selling just a whole lot of toys. I mean, there was just wide variety, especially at this booth in particular. They had so much stuff from across the Playmates and Diamond Select lines even. There was really cool other booths that were selling like autographed pieces. Really, you know, kind of standard convention stuff at this point. Anderson Books was selling books. Loved to go into their booth because it was all books. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot to look at here. It was kind of funny that one of the toy booths was right next to the Picard props and costumes display, but yeah, I mean, there was plenty of toys to look at, even if some of the prices were a little higher than I would have liked. But yeah, a nice little booth of things for Picard because the prop store is auctioning stuff. And yeah, there was comic book artists, websites, different people involved. This Tribble Toys booth I thought was kind of fun, because I wasn't exactly sure what their whole deal was, but they had a Tribble claw machine, and they had bat'lists that were made to fight Tribbles. And yeah, I mean, look at this thing. It's a Tribble claw machine. It actually worked too. I saw people get Tribbles out of it. And yeah, I mean, it was, as you can see, very wide spread out, very easy to navigate, which was excellent because I've been to a lot of really crowded conventions. And this one definitely had plenty of space. Fansets had a really cool booth. Got to see their new badge designs hanging on that banner as well. There was a whole booth selling clothes and jackets, and there was a tattoo booth and some video game stuff and boots from Strange New Worlds. Also a couple photo op chances. You could use the captain's chair from Strange New Worlds or the captain's chair from Prodigy, and you could get them either as a photo or a GIF. They took multiple photos. And Dal was rocking around from Star Trek Prodigy as well, which was dang cool. Also, saw many cosplay there, but there was one in particular who was a Ferengi, and I wanted to shout her out on this. That is her Twitter handle. Check her out because she is awesome. All right, let's tour the 1/6 scale figures of EXO-6 that were on display at Mission Chicago. So first up, we had Rathacon Spock, who's actually in this really cool diorama space for the Enterprise's engineering section, which I think actually just adds to the overall figure a lot, and that's actually really cool that there's more environments coming into this line. They've got several figures based on Discovery, starting with Saru, and Saru looks fantastic. This is such a great design that I think translates really well into action figure form, and they knocked it out of the park here. They absolutely got Saru's look, from head to toe, and I really think it turned out great. And so did Doug Jones, because I spotted him over at the booth at one point in the weekend looking at the new Saru figure and quite enjoying it. To go with Saru, we got Commander Michael Burnham, matching uniform style for Season 1, Season 2 Discovery. She looks really good as well. I think they overall captured her look pretty nice. And it's kind of interesting they did show Discovery figures based on actors that were at the show, which is pretty cool. Around the corner, we had a Discovery version of Captain Pike, and that was really cool to see because while Strange New Worlds is coming up, the Discovery version, of course, is the one that's going to be more available to be making merchandise off of, and he looks really nice as well. So then we have a pair of motion picture-based figures, which is appropriate with the Motion Picture Director's Edition 4K that's out now. And what's interesting here is that we got Spock, who looks great, and Kirk, who's in a kind of different color design. They actually had the design pattern from the production version to show you that, yes, his uniform was actually that green. It just came across on camera more of a gray that we'd expect to see from this. And here's a look at the Enterprise E's Captain's Chair, which recently went up for pre-order. Really cool idea. I love the backdrop. Just really neat stuff to add to the figures beyond just the figure themselves. Speaking of which, we have Borg alcoves and a Locutus. I really like the Borg alcove design, and I'm wondering if it's going to be just one that you can buy or if it comes as two, as you see here. Really cool. I love the lighted display at the top. And Locutus also looks really fantastic. Just a really good version of Locutus, and it's especially the more upgraded version from later in the episode, which is nice to see. Moving to another cabinet, we have our first Deep Space Nine figure with Quark, and Quark turned out nice. This is a really vibrant character, and seeing this version of him is really great, especially the way they captured the Ferengi likeness. It's really, really cool, and not gonna lie, this one's a bit tempting. Moving around the corner, we have Star Trek Enterprise's Captain Archer, but more importantly, his dog Porthos is included. Look at him. Aww. Anyways, Archer looks great. The Enterprise uniform designs are a bit more intricate for a lot of reasons because they're more jumpsuits, and I think they pulled off the look quite well here. We also have a quick look at Q, who's been up for pre-order but looks fantastic. Then what was really interesting is that we have a Commander William Riker from the Next Generation, but there was two of them on display. And this is something we'll get to in a little bit with some others. There are two color variations they're planning to sell for these. So for example, when they did the remaster for TNG, things looked a little different than they did before and different than how they looked on set. So you have the darker colors of the set color version and then the brighter colors of the screen color version that you'd see in the remaster. And I think that's a really cool way of doing it because, like, do you want more authentic to the original costume or do you want more authentic to what you see on screen nowadays? Interestingly, on the bottom of the shelf, they had the first release, I think it was the first release, the First Contact Picard was there, next to a brand new Khan. And Khan actually has rooted hair, unlike some of the others. Another Picard, which is him in his captain's jacket from Season 5, which is awesome. Continuing Voyager, we have Tuvok looking very intense and very intently through the screen here. We, of course, have on display the Captain Janeway, which I reviewed on this channel last week. Definitely worth checking out that video. And we have 7 of 9 here in her pink jumpsuit. Honestly, looks really great. The way they got the details and the textures of that costume is actually really impressive. And the overall likeness is also really good. And the fact she comes with things like the Borg nanoprobe fingers is really awesome. Next up, we have Geordi LaForge from the Next Generation, also in set color and screen color, so you get both options. I imagine they're not going to be both options in one box. You'll probably get to pick when you order which color versions you want to get. Same goes for Spock from the original series, who also, turned out pretty good. I think that the uniform design here isn't so drastic on the set color versus screen color as it is on the Next Generation ones, but it's still cool that that option exists for those that want it. What was quite a surprise was this display based on the menagerie with a full-scale Captain Pike in his sort of medical chair, as well as dress uniform versions of McCoy, Spock, and Kirk from that episode. And I think it was really neat that they had basically every iteration of Pike on display. You had the Discovery one, the Menagerie version, and then, as we'll see in a moment, the pilot version as well. So it was quite a Pike-a-palooza in this display. So moving on up to the little box that included all the figures from the cage, we've got a Mr. Spock, we got a Captain Pike, and a Telosian Keeper. The Telosian Keeper actually really impressed me because that is an incredibly intricate costume design with all the sparkly stuff and everything. and it turned out really good. This is a lot of figures that they had on display, and it made a really huge impression on me. Moving around the corner to go with the solicited Mirror Spock, we have a Mirror Sulu, and I love the facial expression on him in particular. Speaking of Mirror Universe, one of the reveals for Saturday was Mirror Giorgio from Discovery, and this is like an all-in-one Giorgio. You've got the full gold dress kind of look, which of course underneath has the battle armor, and then you also have the fur coat that can go over the shoulders. Really cool to see optional clothing, because some of the Starfleet uniforms are going to be just Starfleet uniforms, but figures like Giorgio here are going to have more options, and they basically included all of the ones that would be for where she was in the Mirror Universe. Not so much when she's like part of Section 31, but sort of that version of Giorgio is really, really gorgeous here. And then also the rooted hair I think works because of the longer hair that Michelle Yeoh wore at that time. Really great looking. I probably will end up picking this one up. It just looks fantastic. And the other big reveal on Saturday was Commander Krug from Star Trek 3, and this is also a very nice figure. Me being a fan of Krug, who was not happy with the Playmates figure of him, it's nice to see another Krug figure finally pop up, and yeah, also very tempting depending on release window timing. He looks really great, and I love that he also comes with the overcoat, so you have options of looks just like with Giorgio. They're more of, I think, kind of a more deluxe style than just the standard style of some of the other figures, and that makes them feel a little bit more special. And then the last thing they added was, to go with Spock, they added Kirk and McCoy from Wrath of Khan, so you got the kind of trio here. And McCoy actually has the environmental jacket, so that says to me that maybe each of these will be coming with, like, Spock not necessarily, but like Kirk and McCoy may come with the jackets and the other coats, since those are a swappable overcoat instead of a full bodysuit, and that's pretty awesome. Also, they took away Seven's stand at one point, and she actually stands fine with her heels, which is really impressive, considering figures with heels usually aren't the most stable things in the world. Also, they had Q face off with Picard at Sunday when they readjusted the boosts a bit, and that's pretty awesome. So another cool thing at the convention was the props and costumes from Star Trek Picard. Now, for some reason I didn't record video of this, I just kind of took some pictures, but Prop Store is doing an auction of props and costumes from Picard. This includes a look that Picard had in Season 1 with the sort of leather look. Another one which was worn by Jerry Ryan as Seven in Season 2. Then we have one that was worn by John Delancey as Q in Season 2 as well. A Starfleet Sciences uniform, which looked really nice. A Starfleet Operations / Security uniform. This Starfleet Command uniform, which was worn by Patrick Stewart in Season 2 at the beginning. And it looked really cool, and also gave me a good size scaling of how big Patrick Stewart is compared to me. I'm much taller. Here we have a Romulan Black Ops costume. Another one of Picard's. This was from the early part of Season 1. And we have Elnor's costume. It's his Quat Malat gear, which I thought was really cool. And prior to meeting the actor at this convention, I didn't realize how tall he was. He is taller than a lot of other people that wear these costumes. Here's another Command Division uniform. I'm not exactly sure which one this is, but it looks nice, and I like the pockets. There was also a case of props. These are somewhat hard to see because the reflection on the glass was intense. But we got a couple comm badges, being like the TNG style, as well as the visitor badge from Episode 2, as well as the dog tag for number 1 and the La Sirena comm badge, as well as a Season 2 Confederation timeline comm badge. There was one of Girardi's Daystrom Institute badges as well. We got to look at the Impossible box that was given to Soji on the Borg cube. There was the actual Chateau Picard bottles that were used at the beginning of Season 2. The little ship in a bottle, which I believe is an Eagle Moss model put inside of a bottle, which is kind of amazing. And then also Picard's cane is in front of all this. Here we have a Romulan hand phaser, as well as a Black Ops phaser in the back. And then we got Jerry Ryan's phaser rifle, or one of them that she used in Episode 5 of Season 1. A couple other hand phasers that were used in Seasons 1 and 2. Really nice looking glassware set, as well as and brandy bottle, and a painting of Soji. And then lastly, we have Rios' backpack and soccer ball, which you probably wouldn't even know was Star Trek unless you really knew the material, but kind of neat overall. What was also cool was, I don't think it was part of the prop store's display, but they had the skulls from the second episode of Season 2 on display to be seen. And these are all iconic characters like Gul Dukat, or as the meme has called him, Skull Dukat. So it was really cool to see these up close. They were pretty fenced off, so I couldn't get too close to them, but luckily we have a zoom lens. So there's the Ferengi one, which was Grand Nagus Zek. So it's kind of neat to see the names, because they didn't mention all of them on screen at the time. This one back here was a little harder to make out, but it is somebody. I'm not too familiar with that alien species, but they look cool overall. Coming around here, we have General Martok, the Klingon. It's kind of cool to see Klingon skulls. I know they designed a bunch of these, but I like the weapons being on the posts as well. This one back here is a Saurian, which is pretty cool. It's nice to see kind of like the way their head shapes work. This one is Sarek, which is kind of interesting because Vulcans have green skulls in addition to green blood. And that necklace is horrifying. And then lastly, we have one of the Borg, which looks freshly decayed, and it's really, really cool. Also, I like how it's one of two, which is ironic because that was an episode title in Season 2. And then here's me with the skulls, because honestly, it was just really cool to see them. So to promote Strange New Worlds, the upcoming Star Trek show, Paramount had a cool booth showing off props and costumes from the series for fans to get a sneak preview of. Before we look at the booth, I want to talk about the posters that were around the outside of the booth, which each featured a different character. So you have the normal ones you'd expect, like Captain Pike, La'an Noonien Singh, Christine Chapel, Hemmer, Erica Ortegas, Una Chin Riley, also known as Number 1, Nyota Uhura, and then the last two were a little different, because while on Friday, he had a poster saying Jubilo Mabenga, which pulls the first name from the novels, on Sunday, it went back to just being Mabenga. Something changed in Saturday for whatever reason. The same thing happened with Spock, because his original poster said Shahen Tagai Spock, was gone Saturday, showed back up Sunday as just Spock. So maybe trademarking wasn't done yet. Kind of a weird thing. So walking into the booth itself, there was a lot of costumes display, such as this formal Vulcan attire for Spock, which looked really nice, actually. I thought the fabric detail was really cool. It was nice that they had the concept art next to it. Some of the props, these seem to be inspired by Vulcan, and I'm curious to see how that'll work in the show itself. Here is a dress that is worn by what is assumed to be T'Pring. I think actually one of the placards did say T'Pring on it, so that is a nice confirmation that character is showing up as well. In the middle of this, we had an Enterprise model, but on the wall, we had some nice concept art. You can see the ship, you could see things like the transporter room and the bridge, get an idea of how there's different angles and views that we'll see of the ship. But look at that ship. It's a great redesign. It's tweaked from the Discovery Enterprise model, and it was nice to see a physical version of this. With the ships being all CGI nowadays, it was cool to see a physical representation, and especially with all the lights put into it. Really, really cool stuff. I really thought this was awesome, especially to see it up close. I overall really like this redesign of the Enterprise, and I can't wait to see it in action in the show itself. Also, this nice wall with all the characters on it. Going into the Starfleet uniforms, you can see those awesome boots, which I think there is a company selling those specific boots for the public to buy, which is cool. They're like $400. Really cool looking uniform. Here's Pike's specifically. There is Division logos in the sleeves on the arms, which is a really cool detail because it just adds to the uniqueness of each of them. And they had these placards that kind of explained what the uniform was and some of the design choices, which is really cool to see. Moving on to some props, we got the communicator on the right, the phaser on the left. Classic, iconic things from the original series that have now been modernized and updated, even further than the versions in Discovery. They're more TOS than the versions from Discovery. I like that tricorder with the flip-down face front. Moving from that, we got Spock's costume, as well as Uhura's, and several others down the way. So looking at Spock, again, similar boots, similar pants, really nice, kind of top there, not too much different. Looking at Uhura's costume here, she has the skirt version as well as a non-skirt version. Apparently it was up to the actors to decide if they wanted the skirt version or not for characters like Uhura and Number 1. They mentioned that at the panel, and I thought that was pretty cool. The alternate one here looks very Star Trek Online inspired, which I really like to see. I love Star Trek Online's uniform designs. Seeing some more concept art on the side here, we can see some of the ships going to planets and the shuttlecraft, which is pretty awesome. These are interesting. These are little badges that have the names of fallen ships. So there's Discovery, there's Shenzhou, there's Farragut, and a few others. And I wonder if this is in an upcoming episode about fallen ships. Looking at number 1's uniform here, very nice. I like the black that's been layered with the yellow, and you can see that command symbol is all the way down the sleeves. Really intricate detail work that was really cool to see up close that you may not see otherwise, and I appreciate that. But yeah, nice costumes overall. This one's interesting. La'an is, for some reason, in this like crazy medieval ball gown, carrying a dog. Not really sure the context yet, but I'm really excited to see how that episode turns out, because that was a gorgeous dress to see in person. Here's M'Benga's doctor's uniform, which is similar to Spock's, but a different color because it is medical versus science, which I think was a cool choice. And yeah, it's really cool to see some of those details. Moving on to the other side, we had La'an's normal uniform, not her crazy dress. Looking really cool. I like that it's got pants, not skirt stuff, but just straight pants. Himmer here has a really cool jacket, kind of like a field jacket, and they had the mock-up of his prosthetics, which I thought was a really cool touch, because you can kind of see the character more. Nurse Chapel's uniform looks very skin-tight, very 7 of 9, but a lot less scrunched up and looked more comfortable overall. It was really cool to see that as well. Then lastly, Ortega's has a similar uniform to La'an, so they actually put Ortega's outfit from the medieval episode here. That was pretty much the Strange New Worlds booth. It looked really cool to see everything up close. So you're probably wondering what I picked up haul-wise from this convention, and surprisingly a lot considering we flew to Chicago and we only checked one bag, but did manage to get some neat stuff. So I figure let's go through it all, because why not? Because yeah, I mean, this is mostly a toy channel. I'm not in front of any Star Trek displays because I didn't want to set them up to have a chair, and I wanted to sit down for this because there's a good amount of stuff here, all things considered. Let's start small. So basically, there was a lot of different booths hanging about the convention that were giving out free stuff. So I figure we start with some free stuff. So Prop Store was holding a exhibition of Star Trek Picard Season 1 and 2 props that they're auctioning off later this year, and they're giving out lanyards, as well as buttons. I got a button of Q from Season 2 there. That very black and white, super shadowy picture shoot they did for Season 2. So that was pretty cool because this is basically promoting their online auction. So yeah, they're auctioning off stuff this fall from Seasons 1 and 2 of Star Trek Picard. So that's pretty neat. And they had some stuff on display, and I'll do like a little bit of a montage for that, as well as, you know, some other boosts. If you've not already seen it, I have no idea what order I'm doing this in. But anyways, so we had those. That was pretty cool. Over at the Hallmark booth, they had little buttons with their new Enterprise ornament based on Strange New Worlds. The Strange New Worlds Enterprise ornament. And in fact, Hallmark's booth is actually pretty neat. They had the rest of the Storyteller ornaments on display, which I probably will do a video on since those are getting completed this year, because basically several ornaments that light up and tell the story of Mirror Mirror, and it's really, really cool. So we're gonna probably look at that this year once I get them all, because this year's gonna have the last 2 for that series. And then they also had some other stuff coming out, like a Borg alcove phone holder, which I'm totally into because I love Borg stuff. So yeah, there was some pretty neat stuff. Now, things that weren't free at Hallmark's booth that I went for anyways was their convention exclusive Tribble ornament, which they made 3,350 of these. Probably thought this through a little bit further, just like every kind of unboxing I do. But essentially, this was one of their 2020 convention exclusives that they still had stock of, because I think they sold some of them online. So they brought some to Mission Chicago. It was this, and there was, I think it was that, I think they had the Bird of Prey that's based on Star Trek 3 and 4. But anyways, this is a ornament for a Tribble, because you see it's got this, so it makes it an ornament. But it actually has an electronic feature to it, because you can open up the Tribble here, and of course it requires a screwdriver. How did I know? How did I know this was going to need a screwdriver? And then yet, does it? Because it includes batteries. They included a battery pack, but let's see here. It's got like one, it seemed like it had one of those pull tabs. Let me get batteries in this, and then we will look at the Tribble. Okay, now we got batteries in it. So basically you give it a little squeeze in it. It shakes a little bit too. So yeah, Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is like one of those weird, like, yeah, it's an ornament, but I also got it because it's a tribble that... So that's pretty neat. We're not going to put him back in the box. We're going to leave the tribble out somewhere. That's the tribble. So that was Hallmark. But what else we got? Let's keep going with the small stuff. So Fansets was there, and Fansets, I mostly use them to buy badges. Not this one. They haven't. This is a Quantum Mechanics one. That was a bad example. They make really nice comm badges and deltas in general, which are more close to the proper size, and I like the way that a lot of theirs are double-backed on magnets, and I have a ton of them, and you've seen them in my Playmates Toys retrospectives, because I wear them a lot there. One of the ones we didn't have, though, was the Picard Visitor magnetic badge, so decided to pick that up since it was there in person, and this is the Visitor badge that Picard had in Picard Season 1. Right before he got cussed out by that one admiral. So that's pretty cool. That was a really neat piece. And then they had 3 exclusive pins. Since I don't really usually collect like normal pinback stuff, I like the magnetic stuff, but I got the one that was the Star Trek Mission Chicago logo. So kind of, you know, stuff exclusive to the show itself, which was nice. Not just something I could just pick up anytime. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, that was really neat. And then they had a couple wristbands. They had some of their Vegas 2021 wristbands left behind, but then they had a specific Mission Chicago one that is Fansets and Trek Geeks, because they do the podcast network. They're partnered up. It's pretty neat. But that was pretty much it from Fansets, because they had a bunch of badges on display that they haven't made yet that I don't remember if I took a picture of. If not, I'll find one online. And that may be the case for several of these images. If I pulled them from somebody that wasn't me, there's an image source credit. I don't like to just pull images. So that was that. Let's get into, oh yeah, there was a shop called The Away Mission. Got myself a disco hat and a Picard hat because I wear this Justice League hat in Star Trek videos too often. So I got a couple Star Trek hats here. The disco matches this jacket nice. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, so I got a couple hats, just simple things. Moving on up in the world of merchandise, I guess we'll go down to the, I got the souvenir, I passed a health check, because you had to be either fully vaccinated against COVID-19 or have a negative test to enter the convention, and they were very strict on this, and I appreciate that, but basically you checked in with the health desk, and they would give you one of these and say, all right, you're good to go, and then you can enter and exit the convention as you please. So that was pretty nice. And then what was also nice is that they had mailed the show badges ahead of time. We did the 3 days. So it had, like, you know, the badge, but then they give you a lanyard as you go in, and that lanyard has, it's two-sided. One side has the logo of all the Paramount Plus shows, and then the other side has actual pictures from it. Let's get a better angle on that. So you can see we've got Pike and Strange New Worlds there, and Dal with Prodigy, and Kirk with the Motion Picture Director's Edition, Picard with Picard, the Mariner and Boimler with Lower Decks, and then Burnham with Discovery. So it's pretty cool. I actually really like it. Yeah, it's totally just, you know, Paramount Plus. I mean, Paramount sponsored the convention. This is the official convention, so that makes sense. But that's just kind of like, hey, here's your current stuff on Paramount Plus, plus that wonderful director's edition of the motion picture, which is gorgeous. That movie's really never looked better. The official store had some neat things. First of all, we got a Mission Chicago magnet for our fridge, which this one has the Enterprise D flying over Chicago with the LCARS sort of design. Really, really dug that, so we got that as a magnet. T-shirts, we decided, because it was me and my parents going, so we each got a t-shirt. So I got this one that was Starfleet Command, Star Trek Mission Chicago. I liked it because it wasn't just specifically Chicago-based, but still had that Chicago vibe. My mom got the one that's essentially the magnet art with the Enterprise over Chicago. And my dad got the one where it's like Chicago's famous foods in the shape of the Enterprise. So that's pretty cool. Now, there was one other shirt I wanted to get, which was, they had these shirts that were similar to the badge arts. And one of them was Murph from Prodigy, the little slime ball dude. And I was like, that's cool. And they only had it in kid sizes at the show. But they were smart and had a link already ready. They're like, look, if you want an adult size, we didn't bring any, but you can order it. So I ordered it. And now I got a Murph shirt on the way. But the absolute star of the merch shop for this convention was the thing that people were like, oh my God, we all need this. And it seemed like they had plenty. They definitely survived the weekend. It's the Geordi LaForge teddy bear from Lower Decks. Look at him. I call him Geordi LaBear, but this is, yeah, it's the Geordi LaForge teddy bear. They call it the Geordi Bear plush. It's got Mission Chicago's logo because it was exclusive to the convention. This thing is amazing because this is a thing in Lower Decks is like it's like a visual gag at one point, but here it is. It's just like the Tom Paris plate that exists as a physical thing now. It's just, here's a Geordi LaForge teddy bear. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. He was $30, which I did not mind whatsoever because, I mean, I went to the Star Trek experience as a kid, which was like the last time I did a pure Star Trek thing, and I got a Borg teddy bear, and he's floating around somewhere around here. I don't know where. The Borg teddy bear scares me a little bit. I'm worried that now there's like a Starfleet officer teddy bear running around the house, that we're gonna maybe have like a Borg Queen Jurati situation. So we're just gonna hope that all works out, and that Borg bear kind of keeps away. But Geordi Bear, amazing. If you're curious, he does have eyes under the visor, and they're like closed, and he just looks so happy. But yeah, I mean, this thing was so popular, they were at the Lower Decks panel, which we'll talk about in a different segment. They had a bunch of these that they gave away to the audience. It was great. A lot of people picked this up. Just wonderful, wonderful little bear. Yeah, this was cool. This was fun. People were losing it over this bear, and I love it when things like that happen. So anyways, that's the Geordi LaBear, and that was the official merch shop. So moving on, let's talk books before we talk toys, because I know somebody's looking for just the toys. And we're gonna get there, because I did buy some toys. First things first, there was a couple authors at the convention, John Jackson Miller and Dayton Ward. So first of all, I dragged my original copy of Rogue Elements because I heard that John Jackson Miller was gonna be there and he was doing signings, and I absolutely loved this book. It's my favorite Star Trek novel I've ever read. I'm like, I think 6 books deep now, so I mean, it's not like it's a huge list, but even John Jackson Miller, when I was talking to him, he's like, yeah, this is my favorite one I've written. I love the character of Rios from Picard, and so this is just like a great expansion on his story. So I lugged this in my backpack until I could get it to John Jackson Miller, who wonderfully signed it for me, and he put in Live Long and Prosper. So that is fantastic. So thank you to him, because yeah, I love this book. It was like, I think it was the fastest one I read, and I didn't want it to end. And so I'm really happy to have a signed copy of this, because yeah, I really like the book. So that was really cool. Meeting the authors of the books was really great. They had a panel where they announced that there's like a Strange New Worlds novel coming up, which is really exciting. The other author there was Dayton Ward, who wrote this book, which was Drastic Measures, which I haven't read yet. This is from Discovery. It's one of the ones I'm actually was missing. I think I'm down to, I think I need one more Discovery book. Essentially, 2020 rolled around, and I was like, I want to start reading novels again. I don't know why. It's not like there was global events that gave me more free time suddenly, and so I've been kind of catching up on, I was like, let me catch up on the current show's books, and then I'll start rolling backwards. But anyways, so I met Dayton Ward, and at the, both of them I met over at the Anderson Books booth, which was really cool because they had books for sale. And so I bought this copy of Drastic Measures from Anderson Books, and then he signed it for me. There you go, Dayton Ward. Put the Live Long and Prosper as LLAP. So yeah, pretty cool. It was really neat to meet authors of books, and I really enjoyed that. And then my mom surprised me with this. I saw this and I wasn't sure if I was gonna get it because I was trying to like be cautious of money and space for things. But this is a coaster book. For those that don't know, because I've literally never talked about it before, I love coasters. Especially, like most people know, when they come over to my house, they have a drink, and before they set it down, there's a coaster under them. Whether I was prepared or not, I'm always have coasters. But I didn't have any Star Trek coasters. And this is a book that has, it has like a description of a ship, and then it has a coaster of a ship, and the coasters are magnetic, and they go inside, so there's like the USS Enterprise. So this is just totally up my alley. There's the Enterprise D, and here is the Borg Cube, and we've got the, is that the Romulan? Yeah, it's the Romulan Bird of Prey, and we've got the Defiant, and the Klingon Bird of Prey. So, I mean, that's 6 coasters in a book. So it's books, it's coasters, it's totally up my alley. So thank you to my mom. She bought this and surprised me with it. Thank you. This is awesome. I love this. It's such a weird concept, but also just totally my jam. And then finishing up in the book department, Star Trek Explorer magazine had an exclusive cover for the convention. This issue is Borg themed, so they did a cool cover with 7 of 9 fighting 7 of 9 when she was a Borg. So that's kind of a cool, like, inner struggle sort of thing. Otherwise, it's the same as issue 2 of the Explorer magazine, which I'm probably going to get a second copy of through my comic shop, because that's where I have my subscription. But it was nice to get this exclusive cover at the show. So that was that. Not quite to toys yet. Part of promoting the shows, they did a cool thing for some of the panels. So the bigger panels, they ended up doing poster giveaways. So let me get these in order. So first of all, at Lower Decks, the Lower Decks panel, which was amazing. We'll talk about that in the panel segment. Here's the poster. It's the Wrath of Khan homage with, you know, Mariner, Rutherford, and Tendi, and Boimler. So it was interesting because they said, you know, oh, those of you that are seated, you're going to get something special for being here early. And we were like, okay. And they handed out these blue tickets, like a raffle ticket. And we're like, all right, what are these for? And they said at the end of the panel, oh, if you have one of those blue tickets, go to the merchandise store, you'll get a free poster. And so that's where we got these. So that was pretty cool. And I was like, hey, that's neat. It's always nice to get something like that. And, you know, luckily got them home. And then the next major panel was Discovery. And they were handing these as we went in. So I guess they had more of these than they did the Lower Decks ones. But as we were going in, they handed out these cool Discovery posters. This is a season 4 key art with the... that's it. That's everybody on the main cast. Yeah. So the main cast there, looking cool. And then for... Strange New Worlds was next. They handed these as we went in. And they also handed them out to everyone that was sitting by. Because the Discovery and Strange New Worlds panels were back to back. So, like, my parents were sitting there, and I went to go get food. And they grabbed me a poster because they were going around handing them out. But there is the Strange New Worlds poster with the cast, which is awesome. I love it. It's the full shot. It's not like it was the Pike on a Horse poster, which I like. But this one's much cooler. And then on Sunday, they were giving out Prodigy posters like nobody's business. There was a lot of these at the show. They had more of these than any of the others. But there is. So we got a Prodigy poster. There was a Picard panel, but there was no Picard poster, and I wonder if that's because they didn't get their shipment or they didn't plan to have one since it's currently airing and not like an upcoming thing. I don't know. But yeah, that was the major stuff there. Okay, so now we're getting to the toys. I promise toys. We are talking about toys. First of all, I said this would happen. If I went to a show or a shop and I saw more Inner Space series, I'd probably buy them. So here's the Borg ship. aka the Borg Cube. Yeah, no, I picked up some Inner Space. Actually, surprisingly, I was able to get these packed on card still. I'm going to open these because I totally want to open these. Because, I mean, look at the interior on that. It's so Borg. It's so Borg. So, yeah, we got a Borg Cube. We've got the Cardassian Galler class ship, which is pretty cool. Who comes in this one? Oh, yeah, it's Odo and Dukat. So that's pretty nice. So there's the Cardassian ship. And we've got the shuttlecraft, shuttlecraft Goddard. So now we got Troy and Geordi to put in the Enterprise playset. And then the last one we got was the Stargazer, which has become way more prominent now, thanks to Picard. But here is Stargazer. So pretty cool. I mean, I by no means have all of them yet, but there you go. Those are the 4 there. The last 2 things, ironically, are both Worf related, but they're for video purposes primarily. Anyways, first of all, Transporter Series Worf. So we haven't talked about this on the retrospective yet, but there was a bunch of these Transporter Series figures. And I hope the batteries, the batteries are dead for sure. Like this does not work like it once was. But hopefully I can get the batteries working on this. But I didn't have any of the Transporter Series figures. So not only was Worf the least expensive at the booth, which was the intention, because I think I saw all of them there. I didn't need all of them. These are kind of a weird novelty. But I like Worf. I like Worf a lot, so I thought, okay, let me get Worf in this weird uniform he never wore, because then I can complain about it. But anyways, yeah, so I got Worf here, and we'll look at that in the retrospective. And then also, again, continuing the Worf train, I didn't have any of these. So for those that want a minor spoiler for the retrospective, I guess spoiler for toys that came out 20 years ago, they did do 4.5-inch First Contact style uniforms as the last wave of the line exclusive to Target. These are kind of hard to come by, and I very rarely see them. And this one was 25 bucks, which wasn't too bad. They didn't have any of the others, but I was like, all right, well, I can never have enough Worfs, I think. So I got Worf in his gray uniform as the Target exclusive. I don't know yet if I'm going to open him because of the rarity. I'm probably just going to say screw it and open it anyways for the video, but we'll open it later. Same with Transporter Worf. I got to film stuff for him before I open him, but yeah, so more stuff for the videos, and that was about it for the haul. I hope this didn't run too long, but there you go. That's the stuff I bought.
We are the Borg.